Welcome, this is Cheating Tales Stories. What part of the world are you watching from? I never thought I'd be the type of woman who tests her own husband. For years, I believed trust was the foundation of marriage, that if you started questioning it, the whole thing was already broken. But then again, you don't know how fragile your world is until the cracks start showing in places you thought were solid. My name is Claire, and this is the story of how I hired a woman to pretend to be my best friend, just to test my husband Mason's loyalty. He failed in 10 minutes. But it wasn't just the betrayal that crushed me. It was how quickly he turned it around, how he tried to make me feel like the villain. In the end, though, I had the last word. I delivered a payback so brutal, so unexpected, that I saw real fear in his eyes for the first time in our marriage. Mason and I met in Austin when I was 25, working as a junior marketing analyst. He worked in finance, wore sharp suits, and carried that easy charm you only see in movies. When he noticed me, it felt like winning some invisible lottery. Everyone loved Mason. The guys wanted to be him. The women wanted to be noticed by him. And he noticed me. He said I had this quiet confidence that drew him in. For years, I believed that. We built a life together, married at 29. Bought a house in the suburbs with a white fence and an open-concept kitchen. The whole American dream package. 2 kids, a dog named Jasper, retirement account slowly filling. From the outside, we were picture perfect, but behind closed doors, things shifted. He started working late nights that didn't add up. His phone became a guarded secret. He angled the screen away from me, stepped out to take calls, laughed at texts he wouldn't explain. And then, one night, I was folding laundry when I found a lipstick stain on the inside collar of his dress shirt, a shade I've never worn. I told myself it was probably nothing. But deep down, my gut was screaming. And when your gut screams, you don't ignore it. You act. I knew Mason well enough to know confrontation would be pointless. He was a talker and manipulator. He'd twist words, turn the blame, make me feel like I was crazy. No, I needed proof. Cold, undeniable proof. That's when I got an idea that scared me, but also thrilled me in a dark way. What if I tested him? I didn't want just any random woman hitting on him. He could always say, "She came onto me." I didn't mean it. No, I needed someone he believed was close to me, someone he knew I trusted. That way, if he crossed the line, there'd be no excuse. An agency online, yes. They actually exist that specializes in loyalty tests. Discreet women trained to flirt, charm, and push just far enough to reveal a man's true intentions. That's where I found Erica. Erica was gorgeous. Tall, red hair that turned heads. A laugh that sounded like champagne bubbles, and confidence that filled a room. The kind of woman Mason would never ignore. I told her exactly what I wanted. She would pretend to be my best friend from college. Just moved back into town. We'd introduce her casually at a dinner. She'd start light, subtle compliments, playful touches, then escalate. If Mason took the bait, well, I'd know. The night came faster than I was ready for. Erica arrived at our house for dinner. Dressed elegantly, but not too much. Just enough to pull attention without looking like she tried. "Mason, this is Erica," I said, smiling tightly. We were roommates back in college. She just moved back from Seattle. Mason's eyes flickered as he shook her hand. That spark? Subtle, but it was there. I knew that look too well. Dinner went smoothly at first. Erica was perfect, laughing at his stories, rushing his arm lightly, holding his gaze longer than necessary. Mason played it cool, but I saw it in the way his body leaned toward her, the way his eyes lingered a second too long. At one point, I excused myself to the kitchen to grab dessert. I left them alone. 10 minutes. That's all it took. When I came back quietly, I froze in the hallway. There he was, my husband, leaning toward Erica, voice low, fingers grazing hers on the armrest. His smile wasn't polite. It was hungry. The same smile he used to give me when we first started dating. My stomach dropped. 10 minutes. That was all it took. After Erica left, Mason acted normal. Too normal. But over the next few days, Erica sent me updates. The texts he sent her, the way he asked her out for drinks, the playful emojis, the subtle innuendos. It wasn't imagination. It was real. When I finally confronted him, I expected denial, excuses. Instead, he smirked. "You set me up," he said coldly. "Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" She wasn't your friend. She was bait. You wanted me to fail. My breath caught. You knew. Of course I knew, he said, leaning back with that arrogant ease. I played along to prove how ridiculous you are. You're paranoid, Claire. Always suspicious. You should be ashamed of yourself. For a moment, he almost had me. Almost. That's how good he was. He could take evidence and still make me feel guilty. But what he didn't know was that his little game had already cost him everything. While Mason thought he was manipulating me, I was quietly preparing my own endgame. You see, I wasn't just his wife. I was the one who handled our finances. The mortgage, the retirement accounts, the joint savings. I knew every password, every account balance, every hidden credit card. And over the years, I'd been careful, quietly moving money into an account he didn't know existed. Consulting with a lawyer, friend from college about divorce laws in Texas, drafting papers, making copies of everything. Mason thought I was blind. In reality, I was building my escape. The breaking point came one Saturday night. He came home late, reeking of whiskey and faint perfume. I was sitting in the living room, waiting. When he saw me, he laughed. What? Another interrogation? No, I said calmly. This isn't an interrogation. This is an ending. I pulled out a thick envelope and slid it across the coffee table. Divorce papers, bank statements, property records. What the hell is this? He snapped up calmer. This, I said, my voice steady, is everything you've been hiding from? Laid out in black and white. The house, in my name. The savings account, transferred. The retirement accounts, frozen. By Monday, your credit score will be tanked. Your account's empty, and the lawyer will be calling you. His face drained. You wouldn't. Oh, I already did. I leaned forward. And one more thing. I pulled out my phone and hit play. Mason's voice filled the room. The recording Erica had sent me of him flirting, making suggestive comments, laughing like a teenage boy caught in a lie. I sent this to HR at your firm, I said. You know their policy on workplace conduct and reputation. Let's see how long your career lasts after this. The glass in his hand slipped and shattered on the hardwood. For the first time in our marriage, Mason looked at me not with arrogance, but with fear. And God, it felt good. The weeks that followed were chaos for him. For me, they were freedom. HR quietly let him go to avoid public scandal. The bank seized what was left of his accounts. His reputation in our neighborhood gone. Friends whispered. Co-workers avoided him. Family stopped defending him when the truth came out. I kept the house. I kept the kids. I kept my dignity. Mason tried begging, threatening, even crying. But trust, once shattered, doesn't glue back together. And I was done collecting the broken pieces. So here I am, telling my story not as a victim, but as a woman who refused to be destroyed by betrayal. I tested my husband, and he failed in 10 minutes. He tried to twist it, to make me feel guilty for daring to see the truth. But in the end, it wasn't his failure that defined me. It was my decision to rise, to fight back, and to make sure he never forgot the day he underestimated me. And if you're wondering whether I regret the revenge, the financial ruin, the public humiliation, the way I torched the bridge behind me, the answer is simple. Sometimes you don't just walk away from betrayal. Sometimes you burn everything behind you. So the person who hurt you has nothing left to crawl back to. And when Mason's world collapsed around him, when he finally realized I wasn't the blind, obedient wife he thought I was, I saw it. The gasp, the fear, the moment he knew he'd lost everything. And that's when I smiled. Thanks for listening. And if this story connected with you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes the most important conversations are the ones we're afraid to have.